Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the talk show Uplifting Communities with John and Ms. J. Well, today we
Hey.
got a really good special, and I mean special, guest for you guys today. But before I go any further, I'm going to ask Ms. J if she don't mind taking the pleasure on bringing our special guest home.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And then remember, if you're listening by phone, just select one to join the conversation, or you can just listen. I just wanted to put that reminder out there. Today, our special guest is Justice Davis. I'm so excited to have her. She's a 23-year-old young lady that's doing a lot of great things. And before we dive into all the great things she's doing and has done, let Justice tell you a little bit about herself. Justice, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about you, sweetheart?
Yes, hi everybody. Like she said, my name is Justice Davis. I'm excited to be on the call today. I'm from originally from Kansas City, Missouri. Currently, I reside in Eastern Pennsylvania, just a little bit outside of Philadelphia. I work for Hormel Foods. I'm a analyst, but in my free time, I'm a spoken word poet slash activist, and I find myself thinking back to the community, to speak to our youth, and encourage people and kind of challenge people to stand up for the community and be activists in their own right through my poetry. So that's a little bit about myself.
Yes. So, I'll probably put you on the floor later, put you out there and say, do me a little poem, but I won't do that right
Hmm.
now. What I
Okay.
talk about is that you're a part of, I know a lot of people don't, because people's like, what is the Black Student Union? And so, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I would love to. Black Reunion is something that I kind of originated. I would say a little bit, maybe over like 40 years ago. So what it is it's a organization of students, and we kind of thrive in predominantly white colleges and institutions. And what we do is we are leaders on campus, black students mostly, not all the time, but predominantly black students who put themselves into the investment of black students on campus. So we fight to create a more cultural competent campus, and we also support any type of thing that kind of advances our community overall, whether that be through education, retention on campus to keep students in the university until graduation, whether it be leadership, so cultivating leaders of our communities for tomorrow, and just preparing them for life and professionalism throughout their entire career. So that's what the Black Student Union is, and I had the pleasure of spearheading the Black Student Union through my presidency back at Kansas State University, and we're an award-winning BSU on the Big 12 Conference on Black Student Government. So that's a little bit about BSU. Did I explain it well? Or do you have any more questions about it?
Yeah. That's really
Mm-hmm.
awesome that an organization like that exists for, the young Black students, because sometimes you get in college, you can get really lost, trying to
Mm-hmm.
find fit in. And so to have something like that where they can be a part of, besides a sorority or fraternity,
Mm-hmm.
is awesome.
I wanted to ask
Yes,
you a question
exactly.
on that also.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you know, a lot of people, a lot of struggling, intelligent young people is trying to go to college, and further their education. Now, let's say one of those students is financially, uh, hurting. Do you
Mm-hmm.
guys help them find funds for that?
Yeah, so what the BSU, that's short for Black Student Union, what we do sometimes is if we know that some students on our campus currently are kind of having financial issues with remaining on campus, we find resources that can help them out. So whether that be through their personal colleges. So if, for example, I was a part of the College of Business, and through the BSU, I got linked to our diversity office, and through which we have various scholarships and donations, and we have a really good relationship with our financial. He was like the vice president of our financial aid department, and he kind of specializes in helping students of color I guess historically marginalized students, and finding other resources to help them pay for their tuition, right? So you kind of they would kind of get advised on how to handle student loans, but also trying to find those extra free resources to kind of aid us throughout our total college career. So whether it's financial aid or finding other donors that give back to the school to help us throughout our time at the university. Hmm.
Hmm. Do you guys are you guys authorized to advertise on campus?
To advertise on campus. For
Yes.
sure. I mean, wow, with social media being such a huge medium of publication, we advertise through our social media. We have a website, a link on our university's website to our page. We go on our student meetings and we talk about the Black student. We try to recruit other Black students to be a part of the organization. So yeah, we advertise tremendously on our respective campuses.
Oh,
That's
okay,
awesome.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So how is what is how many people you think is in your organization, this organization?
Wow. So if I can remember back, I graduated in 2016, so it's been a couple of years since I was involved. But I would say actively probably had about 50 members who were very, very active in the organization, but signed up to as a member. We probably had somewhere a little bit over 100 students who were Black on campus who were part of the Black Student Union. So our reach was pretty small. So if I use Kansas State University as an example, we probably made up about 1,200 students overall, as far as Black students on campus, but maybe 10% of them were actively a part of BSC. So you can see that there's a huge deficit in the amount of people that were involved compared to how many Black students are on campus. But that was something that was a huge concern of ours, and we were trying to actively kind of challenge ourselves to be more and more to build awareness around who BSC was to help our students. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. The reason I had asked you that because like I know there's a lot of I mean, good organization, black organizations, is on
Right.
campus throughout the United States. Especially your large colleges. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not that many blacks, join them. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to compare to the blacks that's in college because there's quite a few.
Right.
Matter of fact, at last survey, they had at one time they were saying it was more blacks in prison than we had in colleges, but the last survey they reversed that. It's more blacks in college now than they are in prison.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I
You know.
see that trend kind of. I mean, more and more students are having the accessibility of higher education, and we see the numbers kind of lie in our favor when it comes to more and more Black students going to college. However, there are disparities in how many actually get involved, especially when you go beyond HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, into our predominantly white campuses. Like we saw that, man, it was a correlation between people who actually stay on campus to graduate while they were involved. So not only were they graduating, they were also involved. So we saw that involvement kind of helped our retention rate and kind of encouraged people to graduate. And Black students who failed to get involved, they dropped out. And so that was a huge concern with on my campus, and I'm pretty sure on many campuses across the country. Kind of saw the challenge of trying to get more students involved in our organizations on these campuses to ensure that they graduate and actually succeed in the whole kind of college experience.
So there is a benefit, for
For
them
sure.
joining because it gives them motivation and give them support. And, I mean,
For
yeah,
sure.
I can see it. That's great, man. I love it. I just love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's definitely a benefit. I mean, at historically white campuses, we go to class and we might be one of like two other Black students in our classes, and the statistics show that with low representation, it's kind of hard for us to stay engaged and get involved, and it's hard for us to seek out for tutoring or help when we may need that resource. And so having a collective body of people to support each other and kind of push each other, encourage each other is really important to our overall success. When Boonsu says, "I am because we are," and so that's kind of what our various Black student unions embody. I am because the whole community we make it. So that's how we all succeed. So I think that it's so super important in our individual success.
You're a young, intelligent lady, and
Thank
I
you.
wanted to ask you a question. Do you
Mhm.
they say young that this is going toward the younger generation, okay? Do you think
Okay.
there is more uh in the younger generation? You think that there's more successful people in the younger generation, uh, or not?
Are you
Or
saying
you think
compared
it's
to?
like,
Are you saying compared to
yeah,
like
compared to
our
the
older
older
generation?
generation?
I'm not sure if it's more successful people. I would say that maybe in different areas we see success, right? So I think
Right.
immediately we think our older generation they paved the way for us, so they were fighting battles that maybe we don't have to fight. For instance, whether it's our right to vote, whether it's our right to attend certain universities that were segregated before our ancestors and leaders came before us, and that was their value of success. Now our success is measured a little bit differently. I think our success now is kind of measured in can we carry that torch that was laid before us, that foundation that was laid before us? Can we actually graduate, not only graduate, create financial freedom in our communities and economic development in our communities? Can we not only succeed in graduating, but can we carry the right and civil, or carry the torch in civil rights? Maybe it doesn't look the same as marching through Selma and the March on Washington with Martin Luther King. Maybe now it's black and brown bodies who are suffering at the hands of police brutality. So I think our success is just a little bit different than the people way before us, but I think that maybe I think we're all successful in our rights throughout our generations, but I think it's just a different way of looking at it today, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. But maybe I didn't
Okay.
ask you the question right. But that was good
Okay.
the way you put it. I was trying to ask you, do you think is more young people is leaning toward success than, what is the balance? What is the ratio? You think is more young people going toward the success, or just or stagnated?
Uh, that's a good question. You know what? I think a lot of the times with the current state of our community and the presidency that is a super hot topic, it seems like our community can be kind of hopeless. But I think there's a lot of positives. So I think to answer your question, I would think that more so we're leaning towards success. I mean, at one point, black women was the was graduating colleges graduated from college at a higher rate than any other demographic. And I think that statistic alone shows the success in our generation today of black women just kind of being the forefront of so many movements in our communities. And I think for I don't know, I just think that I think success is on our side, honestly. And I think that right now I think we're getting awakened with a lot of things that we're facing today. And so it's kind of challenging to be better and do more. And so, um, yeah, I think the success is on our side. And I think we're leaning towards more successes in our future and current state.
Wow, you sharp. Yeah, you are very, very intelligent.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. What you got to say, Miss J?
No, I agree with what you. I was trying to feel where I was trying to understand where you were coming from. So, but
Mm-hmm.
I a lot of times that we talk about success, that determine what the success is to individuals. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, we have some young individuals that are striving to be activists, strictly activists, community activists. We have some that are
Mm-hmm.
striving to professionals. We got some that are striving to be both. So I think when you talk about success, I think that's determined by the individual. You know what I
Right.
mean? I don't think it's a blanket picture about what success is, because what success
Right.
is for me may not be what success is for you.
For sure.
Mm.
For sure. And I think
That's
a
right.
great example of it, I think a great example of that is because to me, I like to consider myself more of an activist. So when I see something that's hurting our community, I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? And I protest about it, we're gonna speak up about it. And someone kind of and I was kind of upset, and one of my peers, who was also an African with a mirror. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you not expressing to me? And kind of as resilient as me and trying to fight for what we think is right. And someone had to check me on it and be like, well, Justice, like you have to have different parts of the movement to make up the whole entire movement. So you know that quote that
Absolutely.
the sum of the body kind of the greater the sum of the parts makes the whole body. So the body can be only great as the sum of its parts. So we have to play our different roles. So whether I'm up with my fist protesting in the streets, so I'm in legislation, or I'm working in my corporate job, where I'm in school, or I'm trying to fight to make sure my family, I'm a single mom, and I'm trying to make sure my family has enough food for the next day so I can see my kids make it. We're all playing our part in this whole entire movement. So yeah, our success is measured differently, I think. So that's a cool example of how that is so.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
agree. It's really determined by what we're striving for as individuals.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, you're right, Miss J. But you still can come up with some type of statistic. You know, how
Mm-hmm.
many uh young people is going towards success, or how many of them is still incarcerated, going
Yeah.
toward other things. You
Yeah,
know,
that'd be something
Yeah.
to probably
and,
Google.
and how you figure that out is check the ones that's working in college or doing other things. I'm talking about in her age bracket than the
Right.
ones that's
Right.
not.
But if, I like
People
to go
they
back to that again though, but John, going to college doesn't necessarily mean that success. I mean, when I
Very
say
true.
no
but
disrespect to
that's
anybody, I'm a college graduate too. But there's been a lot of
Mhm.
people that are successful and never touch college.
yeah,
Yep.
So
Yep. I agree.
yeah, so to say
yeah.
like going to college guarantees some type of no disrespect because I'm a college graduate myself, success. I think that would be kind of not a valid statement, or maybe
Well, you're right,
you know what I mean?
because
Because the
majority of
college
the
does
time
not
statistics
success.
is not a valid statement anyway, because the
Yeah,
way they do it, they go by, let's say, for how many people in the United States. Then you ask yourself a question: how many people is not registered? How many people,
Hmm.
haven't had? They talk about unemployment rate. How many people, that ran out their unemployment and they don't even have them on record if they're having them work or not?
Right. Right.
So how can they get something accurate statistic? No, let's say I got three people, five people living in my home, but none of them registered to vote, or either whatever. So how they can, you know, it's a trip.
No,
It's a deep,
it really is. Hmm.
you know. But anyway, let's move on. I see, and I'm gonna let Ms. J finish the interview. But I want to ask you one more question. I see you
Sure.
the co-founder of an organization, okay, and you join you. Who is the Manhattan Alliance of Peace and Justice? Accordingly
Okay.
to you, yeah, explain what you guys do.
Okay. Yeah. So back in my time in Manhattan, Kansas, when I was in college, the Black Student Union joined forces with the Manhattan Alliance of Peace and Justice in local churches to kind of create a group of advocacy for against police brutality, right? So that was the time when the wake of Michael Brown had happened. A lot of shootings. Kansas, we're not that far from Missouri, and a lot of our understanding. So a lot of us were dealing with the hurt of the Michael Brown situation, and we were carrying that burden, while we're on campus, and so we had the need to do something about it. We think about it. We did some research in our own area, and we're a part of Riley County, and we saw that some statistics were in our favor, right? Like blacks in that area were being arrested for non-violent criminal acts, such as like I guess you would say the carrying of drugs or just certain things, certain misdemeanors, and we're getting arrested and disproportionate rates compared to our white counterparts. And so we, as a collective, we thought, okay, let's bring this up to the Raleigh County Police Department and let's hold a forum. Let's bring community members within that conversation. Let's talk about race, unconscious racial bias within our police practices. And so that was something we all kind of got there and we were like, let's hold a forum to talk about it and maybe even try to encourage our police department to get some type of um, training for unconscious bias in their police practices and try to help the situation and kind of alleviate this problem that we so much cared about. So that's kind of a brief background on some of the things that we as a collective came up with. And so, I mean, that was a couple of years ago that we kind of got together to discuss this situation.
Mm, that's pretty
Mhm.
good. Yeah, we need something like that,
Mhm.
in all the communities,
For
throughout the
sure.
United States, you know.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need organizations just like that. And that's what, Uplifting Communities Talk Show is all about. Is is getting people to listen at people like you.
Mhm.
You understand? And I see we do have a lot of callers, and and maybe somebody can go ahead on and and come up with something to have some type of peace and justice in their community. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so but back to
Just
you,
said.
Miss J.
I love.
Go ahead,
Mhm.
Justice.
Yep.
Go ahead, Justice.
Yeah, I was just saying, I love the idea of listening to me. That's what it's all about, right? I think that, when we think about police brutality, that's I personally think that even the first step of solving some of these issues is having police kind of practice in the community they actually live in, right? Because you now have a vested interest in that community, and once you connect with the people of that community, you can now work within that community and have conversations with them, have talk about the differences in how we feel and our different perspectives. Learn on that perspective are our reality. Our perspective is our reality. And so, I find it so cool when I see communities like San Francisco in the Bay Area and where I live in Pennsylvania host schools with their police department and their community because it's such a disconnect. And all we need is somebody who can say, hey, I see the injustice here in my area and I see the disconnect between society of people kind of working for the greater good. Let's bring them together and let's talk about it. It's so powerful.
Hmm. Yes, it is powerful. You know, and when y'all so mainly y'all talk about the different problems in the communities and see how y'all can
Mm,
solve
for sure.
justice.
Yep.
Oh, okay. All
No,
right.
yep. You ask your question again. I'm sorry if I missed that.
Mhm.
Absolutely. We
Mm-hmm.
have to step up and do what we need to do as individuals, and I think it varies by individuals. But I think all of us have something to give, and each
For sure.
community is a bigger problem than different problems. We all have general problems, but we all have individual problems too that we can tackle. As individuals. So
For sure.
yeah.
For sure.
We got a
You guys
dead
still
spot.
there?
Yeah, everybody's still here. We waiting on you.
Oh, I was that again. But no, so as far as so I think it makes a really a big difference on having the young people step up because older people will not be able to do it for not much longer. So to have young people that are conscious is a major deal.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when we were really protesting, if you think of all of the black and brown bodies who were killed thanks of police brutality. I remember my grandma kind of watching the news when we were protesting back in Kansas City after the Ferguson situation. She was like, man, like she was so distraught. She was looking at the TV and she was talking to me. And my grandmother was like, man, we marched so you didn't have to. And so when my grandma told me that she marched on the house, I kind of I found that I'm like, man, it's up to us to kind of push that idea forward, right? And so we can't just leave it, at the hands of our grandparents, right? And after the civil rights movement, we can't just stop saying, it's up to our generation to kind of say, hey, we have to be the leaders of today, or we have to be the leaders of tomorrow, and we kind of have an amazing foundation like before it. So now it's time to that torch and carry on the fight of civil rights and social justice whatever it may be. It's so many things. And so many things that we can talk about that, our generation is fighting for. And I think everybody else should talk bad about millennials and how we're really into social media and all this extra stuff about millennials. Millennials is really cool about our generation is that we're really rebellious and we're not really doing the status quo. And so when we see something we don't like, we're the first ones to jump on the bandwagon of advocacy and try to fight for true change in our communities. And I think that's something really cool about our generation that people may not pick up at first sight. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for some reason, y'all have to excuse the radio station because some
Mm-hmm.
reason they keep dropping Miss J from our from our interview. But I don't know what's the problem. They keep dropping her. Let me see. I don't know if that's her. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yes,
I'm
I
still
know
here.
Blog Talk don't have no love for me today, but it's okay. But
Yeah.
great comment that you made. I was listening, even though it kicked me out. Great comment because that is
Thank you.
true. We have to, and then too, I always think too as elders, sometimes we gotta sit back and realize it's not gonna be our way. A lot of times we think
Mhm.
because our way worked that way back in the day and so forth, that we're not always open to change. And I think for both
Mhm.
generations to work effectively together, we both got to young people got to be open to old school little bit of knowledge because they've been around, and then we got to understand that things have changed, and we have to be open to make some adjustments to the new changes. And I
For
think that will make
for
it
Yeah.
more
for sure,
powerful too.
for sure, my church, our young adult ministry, our whole name is called Bridging the Gap. So you notice that, I'm not sure if people who listen are actually religious, but just even in the churches, I think about that as an example. Like, certain things that, our elders in traditional way of worshiping is just changing, right? And our generation is kind of like, there's a disconnect between the older generation and the younger generation. And so, in my church, we're like, okay, we're going to bridge this gap. And we have to come to some type of compromise, and sometimes the older generation is kind of apprehensive on what we can bring to the table, and maybe they don't put the whole trust in us young folks was like, hey, we can pick up, the generation of tomorrow. So we have to step up, embrace the gap between, what the old and the new. Trying to find between the two generations.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Miss J, you with us? Miss J, are you with us?
Yes, I'm in the key. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening because I like to learn. So sometimes I get involved I get mesmerized by the conversation sometimes. So forgive me. But yeah, I mean, because you're making some valid points, and I think a lot of times, like you said, and everybody's in agreement that we have to learn to work together because we can't solve anything divided. So
For
if we're
sure.
divided by classism or age or knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
all that causes division, and we can't accomplish
Mm-hmm.
anything divided. So we just gotta learn to come together and respect the differences and let's get something accomplished. Because there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Oh, it's
Exactly. 100% I agree.
right. It's definitely a lot of work. I wanted to ask you another question. And the reason why I'm asking you these questions is because you're young, way younger
Mm-hmm.
than I am. And it was a statement made, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. From
Mm-hmm.
Kanye West, and I'm
Oh
quite
boy.
sure everybody know about
Poor
the
Kanye.
yeah, and he
Uh-huh.
says something to the fact that slavery was a choice.
Whew. Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, Kanye was, it's a joke on social media that, when that movie Get Out, that Kanye West is in a certain place, and I kind of agree with that. But, I listened to that interview on TMZ that he had when he said
Me
slavery was a
too.
choice and all. And I also saw his Twitter comments that kind of, he tried to save himself and say what he meant, try to explain what he meant by that. But I think that what he was saying that 400 years, right? It kind of went from a physical slavery to a mental slavery, and we were mentally
Exactly.
imprisoned. Which I do agree that I do agree that we face an epidemic for centuries of mental imprisonment. But what I kind of disagree with him on is just the way that he kind of went about it. I think he has a terrible way of getting his point across, and that it was lost
Right.
in translation. And it kind of seemed like, oh, we came on PlayStation because we had a choice. We could either walk away, we were outnumber our masses, and that was our choice. Where it wasn't that easy, and to kind of discredit people, the Nat Turners and Harriet Tubman to rebelled against slavery, and those were just the only. It was plenty, hundreds of slavery rebellions within various plantations throughout history.
Yeah.
But he discredited it by saying that it was a choice. So, I totally disagree with his comments. Though his intentions may have been different than his impact to me spoke louder than his intentions, and I think his impact was
Exactly.
like, yeah, no, it wasn't good at all. So I
And
disagree
you
with
know what?
Mr.
That
West.
also comes with a lack of knowledge. Um,
Exactly.
when you don't know your own history, and Kanye is
Mhm.
not a dumb dude, but he didn't do his homework. And I think he has that tendency to just blurt out stuff. I mean, even before TMZ interviews, because I kept that recording too. I watched it a couple of times. But he has a tendency to
Mhm.
blurt out, which I think it has to do with that mental illness. Not making it an
Mhm.
excuse, but you are responsible for the words that come out of your mouth. So not
Mhm.
making it an excuse, but I think also he was trying to make a point without completely forming it in his mind. He just started blurting out stuff. He was,
well,
and I look
Exactly.
at that. Yeah. So I agree with you, and I do believe to a certain degree that there is some mental slavery in mentality and behavior. You know, um,
Mhm.
and by the choices that we make as a community. Not everybody, but there's a lot of people making some really not good choices. But to say that we were slave, he just spoke too much, and that's why he went somewhere and got
Exactly.
quiet instead of shut down. Um, but we do have some things we have to work on. We have to work on unity. We're still very divided. We're still
Very much
very
so.
selfish. We have
Mhm.
so many things that we need to really work on as a community. And what bothers me the most, regardless of his comment, is that if we don't figure out how to work together, we're going to be really irrelevant. We're not going
Yep.
to matter as a race. And people don't believe me,
Mhm.
but I'm telling you what they're doing. You talk about, people always want to make jokes about, Latinos and all this, but they're self-sufficient. They buy from each
For
other.
sure.
They take care of each other. The Asian groups do it. The Jewish groups do it, but not black folks. We're not there for nobody black, because they always
Yep.
got a reason why they were not there for nobody black. We don't want to put our money together to buy stores. They put their money together by stores. Yes, some of them come to the citizenship, which, they get, as long as they own a business and contribute to the country, they get loaned. Okay, granted. But if we spend as much money as we spend on clothes, Nike,
Mm.
I'm just saying, they pay
Yep.
$300 for a pair of Nike. I ain't got nothing against no weed. We get things, so please don't get mad at me. But we'll spend $800 on some hair. We don't have no savings account. We don't have no backup money. We will not pay rent to go to a concert.
Exactly.
There's some things that need to change. Poor money management across the board. I mean, it's some things that we gotta take accountability for and make changes. We can't keep saying the white man this, the white man that, because we're at a time now. Yes, we still got some stuff going on, but we're in a place where we can make some real changes that matter. And as a whole, we're not doing that.
Well, if we continue having statements like with Kanye West,
that statement don't have nothing to do with nothing, because we gotta be individuals. That's just a kid flying off his mouth. As an individual, you need to do your own homework. You need to do your own soul searching. You can't take that one comment and say, "Oh, he's gonna destroy the world with that one comment." We've been called the N word. We've been called all kinds of stuff that can hold us down if we're gonna choose words. That comment cannot determine a whole community's future. And if that's the case, that's a slave mentality, because that's just like the master telling you to go back in the field after you just had a baby or whatever, and you go, oh, I'm just saying, we cannot allow one person's words to determine a whole community's future. That's impossible. We have had way more worse stuff happen than that comment. Though I do not agree with what he said, even though he tried to clean it up, we cannot allow that comment to determine our future. That comment, we were having problems before he made that comment.
Yeah, okay, but hold on, Miss J. Slow it down. What I was about to say, and you are, by the way, you're right. You're 100% right. But what I was about to say is that caused a lot of people to think, and Kanye has a big follower, and a lot of people is looking at that and they thinking, well, yeah, one thing, they really had a choice, man. They really, and to me, like that was a slap in our ancestors' face by him.
Absolutely. But you can't how many times have we been slapped in the face? How many times? I'm just saying that, yes, he's got a responsibility. He blew it. But we can't harp on that, because that's our biggest problem as a community. We get distracted too much. We run with stuff. Then we run with it and we don't do nothing with it. If that comment affected someone, then what did it say? I'm going to prove him wrong. Because I don't know what he's talking about. We got to take stuff and flip it. We take stuff and we harp on it. When we use it on social media, we harp on it, but we don't do nothing about it. And a lot of people that are mad, and no disrespect, they're not even doing nothing in the community to improve the community. They just want to be mad because everybody else is mad.
I think when personally, when it comes to Kanye West, Kanye West, I think we have to be real on why we're so angry that Kanye West is saying it. We're not angry because of Hurricane, and what Hurricane is saying, and Candace Owens and people who are normally more on the right side of politics and black. I think with Kanye West, it's a feeling of hurt, right? So it's like Kanye West at one point when he made the college rap Dropout and those type of albums when he first came out, it's like, look, talk about this stuff in your music. The very thing that you're calling out, you were against in your music, And when we think about the song when it all falls down, like we made us hit ourselves and love and wealth as far as shorty follow what the fall is it. Drug dealers by doing crackheads by crowds and the white man get paid off on all that. Kanye West said that, so now that we see that, today he's kind of switching up. It's not a matter of really discussing about what Kanye West is saying, because we know it's different. It's more so like, we're hurt. There's someone that we idolize. I'm not saying that was right or wrong, but we idolize this guy in our community based off of things that he taught us through music when he first came out. And now we're pushing this whole ideology to the point of it's a point now. We're disappointed in you, Kanye, because you have this platform and you're speaking ignorance, and we know that at one point in the history you were on our side. So now we're hurt. It's like if Obama came out with some type of scandal, and we all called the Obama. We said Barack Obama is still our president, but if he had came out and he had some type of scandal when he cheated on Michelle Obama, it's a difference, and we're just disappointed because we held you to a higher standard.
So it's an emotional thing.
Exactly.
It's
That's what it
emotional.
is. Exactly.
Emotional.
Exactly
And
what
that's
it
why
is.
I say that we jump on bandwagons through our emotions and then we jump off.
That's
We
right.
do. We do. We do.
Yeah. So I think it is
There's
emotional because they think they feel betrayed. It's a betrayal
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
But we
It's a
got
betrayal.
to remember that these are people, and we idolize people. So when they break
Yep.
when they don't do what we expect them to do, our whole world comes falling apart. And that's what I'm talking about, being self-sufficient. If you do your homework and you know our history, you know like that fool is tripping. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you keep it moving.
Mhm.
You know, but when we idolize these individuals, we make them bigger than a god almost sometimes. I just say, because those
Mhm.
first albums, I got all of them. Trust me. They were on point. So when we idolize these people, we put expectations on them. As soon as they fall from that expectation, we are devastated. And I
Yep.
think that's something we got to stop idolizing people and realize they are just humans. They're going to make mistakes. They're
Mhm.
going to say stupid stuff. Just like Tyrese crying on the internet. I mean, I love Tyrese. He's a friend. But, people, they went on him on all that crying. I'm just saying that we do that. We expect things from people and forget that they are human. Forget that they're flawed. Forget that they're going through life changes. Forget,
Agreed.
and I think that is where the disappointment comes in. Everybody know it was a stupid comment, but because he's idolized and we put expectations on him because he has a fan base and because he was this and he was that, and then when he's not that, we're all disappointed and hurt. And that's what I'm talking about. I mean, I understand the pain. I understand the disappointment. I watched the TMZ review 3 times. I was like, this fool is tripping. But I wasn't like hurt like a lot of people because I realized he's just a man. He on medication. He taking 1 pill instead of 3. Anything gonna come out his mouth.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, we only have like about 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on the show, so I'm asking Ms. J to start closing this out.
Oh, absolutely. And for all you people in Malachi, don't be mad at me. I'm just talking. That's just my opinion. But I do appreciate you coming on, Justice. You had a great conversation about the Black Student Union and some of the young people that are in college. Check it out on your campus. And Justice, if you had one positive thing to say to the audience before you leave, what would that be?
Yeah, I just want to say, please stay encouraged. Remember to be an advocate in your own right and whatever lane you're in. Remember to do that to the fullest. And if you're on social media, please follow me on Instagram and Snapchat at Defining Justice. So at Defining Justice, just as it sounds, spelled just like that. So yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate you inviting me on the show.
No, I appreciate you because we learn from you as well. And it was a great ending of the conversation. We brought it down to your age group and a little bit older, but it was a really good conversation because sometimes dialogue helps change thinking. So we appreciate you being open with the dialogue and very honest, and we appreciate that. So thank you for joining us. And Mr. John L. Brown.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Justin, I really, really liked the conversation. I mean, this was so really good. And I would advise everyone out there, people that's listening in, have kids, grandkids that are in college, tell them they need to get with one of them organizations on college because not only will it minimize the dropout, but they also encourage you to stay in college and graduate.
Yes.
Okay, it's a great way
Yeah.
to have someone to back you up to help you out. Back to you,
That's
Ms.
right,
J.
John. Yeah, great support system. You're absolutely correct, John. Because college can be challenging without a good support system, and everybody are like, don't do fraternities and sororities. So sometimes you need a great organization. So look, like John said, look up a great organization that supports your needs and be a part of it. Yeah, Yes, absolutely. So thank you to Justice for joining us. We appreciate it. And thank you, John,
Thank
for
you.
putting up with me. Y'all know hot on the conversation. I appreciate it. And thank everybody else for joining us too. We appreciate you guys joining us every Sunday. We really do.
Thank you.
And yes, and John, anything else?
That's it. So I would say good
All
night,
right,
everyone.
good night, everyone, and peace and blessings. Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Bye.
To promote my new flower shop, I had one place print my business cards, another print my brochures, and a third my signs. Now my roses aren't red, my violets aren't blue, my geraniums look dead, and I don't know what to do.
Staples can help your business stand out with signs, banners, and brochures that are a true reflection of your company. And now at Staples, spend $50 or more on print and marketing services and get $5 off your next in-store purchase.
Now my business is blossoming, and I'm spending less green.
Exclusions apply. In-store only. Ends 6/23/18.